Coptoons is fiction. It's not real, it's a cartoon. However, it's based on a true story. Coptoons is a lampoon of the foolishness of the cops, magistrates, psychiatrists, and what they did to Mr. Sanchez. Gateways is a real place. It does not have a gateway, nor soldier, nor barbed wire. But it's a real mental hospital used to punish anyone who dares to criticize the police. Mr. Sanchez was held there as a political prisoner to be punished for distributing leaflets about how the police are murdering innocent Black and Hispanic people. It's a real place. You can go there. The address is Gateways Hospital and Behavioral Health Center, 1891, Effie Street, Los Angeles, California, 90026, the United States of America. Mr. Sanchez was held there as a prisoner for 11 months. When Mr. Sanchez arrived there in shackles, a capo named Javier took away Mr. Sanchez's glasses. Javier said that Mr. Sanchez could break his glasses and use the broken glass to hunt someone or himself. Mr. Sanchez was held captive at a part of the Gateways compound called the Halfway House. The Halfway House is a former residential neighborhood of about 20 houses fenced together and used as a minimum security prison. Mr. Sanchez was held captive in one of these houses that they call cottages. Although Mr. Sanchez was expected to clean, vacuum, and make his bed every day, Mr. Sanchez was also forced to daily clean, vacuum the living room carpet, water closet, bathtub, shower, bathroom floor, kitchen floor, and the refrigerator. Since Mr. Sanchez was not allowed to wear his glasses, Mr. Sanchez could not see the small bits of hair in the bathtub or shower. And it was not possible for him to see the wee spots in the refrigerator. As a result, Mr. Sanchez was punished with what they call extra duty. At first, the extra punishment was to daily clean and vacuum the carpet in one of the garages that had been converted into the telly room with furniture for the other prisoners. He was also forced to dump out all the rubbish containers and sweep away all the leaves from the basketball court every day in addition to his daily duty of cleaning his cottage. At the end of the day, he had to take his extra duty sheet to the main office to have a capo sign it. At the office, Mr. Sanchez had to wait for a long queue of prisoners to sign in as they arrived from their community service. They had to have a breathalyzer test to check for alcohol intoxication. Then they had to have a body and bag search. This process would take at least an hour. While Mr. Sanchez waited, the trees didn't stop dropping their leaves. Once the sign-in process was complete, the capo would take the extra duty sheet and walk to the basketball court. Every day was the same. The capo would come to the basketball court and find it covered with newly fallen leaves. So the capo would therefore assign another extra duty punishment of 7 days in addition to the previous 7 days of cleaning the telly room and basketball court. The new extra duty punishment was to sweep all the pavement and gutters along Effie Street that runs along the 20 houses that they call cottages. He even had to sweep all the driveways along Effie Street. As expected, the trees did not cooperate. After an hour of waiting, the capo would find the basketball court, the street, and the driveways covered with leaves. So this is how Mr. Sanchez became a slave working from early morning to late at night. After Mr. Sanchez was released from Metropolitan Detention Center, he was taken in handcuffs in a glossy new SUV as the one you see here. The SUV then parked exactly on this same driveway in 1999. As you can see, this house is different. It doesn't have the black steel fence like the other houses. That's because it's the main entrance to the Gateways Halfway House. The SUV is used to transport the prisoners from the normal prisons to Gateways. Pedro Castillo, Mr. Sanchez's public defender, initially claimed Mr. Sanchez was totally innocent. However, 6 years after Mr. Sanchez was released from prison, Pedro Castillo changed his story. He admitted in a fit of rage that he, Mr. Castillo, always believed that Mr. Sanchez was guilty and deserved to stay in prison for 15 months. Mr. Castillo also admitted that he, Mr. Castillo, wished that Mr. Sanchez were in prison right now. 20 years after Mr. Sanchez was released from prison, Pedro Castillo changed his story again. Mr. Castillo discovered that the cops had been lying, and so, Mr. Sanchez was totally innocent. So then he told his secretary, Consuelo, to tell Mr. Sanchez that Gateways is not a halfway house. It's just a homeless shelter because Mr. Sanchez was homeless. And so, no harm was done. Dr. Chaska was Mr. Sanchez's unwanted doctor. Dr. Chaska was one of 3 persons responsible for holding Mr. Sanchez prisoner in Gateways for 11 months. When Mr. Sanchez complained that the blasted medication was extremely bloody horrible, Dr. Chaska ordered it doubled. After 11 months of horrible drug torture, Dr. Chaska finally realized that Mr. Sanchez is not mentally ill. Dr. Chaska blamed everything on Judge Stephen Hillman. Dr. Chaska countered by claiming that Judge Hillman's commitment order obliged Dr. Chaska to reluctantly drug Mr. Sanchez. Chaska rationalized that he never wanted to drug Mr. Sanchez, that Chaska was totally against it. This is not true. The commitment order signed by Judge Hillman did not say must be for a year or shall be for a year. Up to does not mean must be or shall be. Up to means at a maximum of. Dr. Chaska could have released Mr. Sanchez after just 72 hours. During the time that Mr. Sanchez was a slave at Gateways, he was required to have a 45-minute therapy session with Dr. Chaska every week. In one of these sessions, Dr. Chaska placed one of his arms beside Mr. Sanchez's arm and said, "Look at my arm. I'm just as dark as you are. I'm not white. I've never had any problems with the police. So why are the police always targeting you and nobody else? What do you have that nobody else has?" Perhaps Dr. Chaska never watches the news on the telly. This video montage of cops beating and killing innocent Black and Hispanic people is just the tip of the iceberg. You are looking at aberrations. But I don't mean that the beatings and murders alone are the aberrations. The existence of the video cameras that filmed these incidents are the aberrations. 99% of the time that the cops kill or beat somebody up, there is no video camera to film the beatings or bloody murders. Usually, the cops say that they forgot to activate the cop cam, or the video recording mysteriously disappeared. So Dr. Chaska is asking the wrong question. He asks why just you? Why is it that they never do it to anybody else? He needs to start asking a new question. He needs to ask, why is it that I have never heard of these thousands of cop murders? That would be the relevant question. If that is Chaska's question, then the answer is in Dr. Chaska's mirror. If you saw a cop shoot an innocent Black child in the back for running away, would you draft a leaflet about what you saw and distribute it to the public? If so, you are a bloody hero. But beware, you would be arrested and Judge Stephen Hillman would commit you to Gateways for up to 1 blasted year. Then Dr. Chaska would ask you, why just you? Why is it that they do this to you, and nobody else? In 2008, Vladimir Putin was the president of Russia. At this time, nobody could imagine that this homeless-looking wimp would someday terrorize the world like a Godzilla monster, burning down cities and trying to eat a whole country. In 2008, Russia was a free country. Russia was just a normal European country. Everybody had rights. Nobody went to prison for criticizing Putin. So Mr. Sanchez felt that it was totally safe to travel through Russia. Little did Mr. Sanchez know that the true Godzilla was lurking in the United States of America. Mr. Sanchez arrived at LAX on April 30, 2008 on Aeroflot Russian Airlines. All the passengers were ordered by the FBI to queue up in a long queue. Mr. Sanchez began to think about what he was going to tell the FBI and about what the INS did to him when he was arrested at Imperial Beach, California, in 1988. After 2 days of death threats, racial insults, and a false promise to be released today, Mr. Sanchez finally agreed to sign the false confession of illegal immigration with the condition that he would be released on the same day. He was then held prisoner in 3 INS prisons, a total of 3 months. Most of this time was spent at El Centro Processing Center, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. 1115 North Imperial Avenue, El Centro, California, Mine 2243, the United States of America. Much of this time was spent in a small chain-link cage out in the August sun of the Imperial Desert. This is why Mr. Sanchez was sure that the FBI would do something just as bad. Mr. Sanchez, therefore, didn't want to sign another false confession to being an illegal alien from Russia, or a Russian spy. The Bobbies often redundantly repeat that everybody has the right to remain silent. So he chose to remain silent. So he was arrested and held captive at Harbor UCLA Medical Center for 24 hours. Then a doctor named Dr. Caldwell ordered to have him handcuffed with Velcro handcuffs and sent to Mission Community Hospital, 14850 Roscoe Boulevard, Panorama City, California, 91402, the United States of America. Mr. Sanchez was held there as a prisoner for 10 days. After his release, he tried to get a barrister. But the barrister said that Mr. Sanchez would have to make an official complaint against the hospital or the barrister would not be able to proceed with the lawsuit. So Mr. Sanchez went back to the hospital to make an official complaint. Mr. Sanchez was given a phone number of the director of the hospital and told to call him. The director of the hospital, Adam Holland, said that there will be no official complaint to the hospital and that Mr. Sanchez must never come back to the hospital. Mr. Holland said that if Mr. Sanchez comes back, Mr. Holland would call the police and Mr. Sanchez would be arrested, but Mr. Sanchez needed to prove that the complaint was attempted, or the barrister would not start the lawsuit. So Mr. Sanchez came back with a video camera to prove and to document that the complaint was attempted. Consequently, Mr. Sanchez was arrested. Jordana Moston was Mr. Sanchez's public barrister. No, Moston never visited Gateways. However, this Gateways episode is a satire of how the public defenders of California are trained to believe that their job is not to defend the public. Public defenders are trained to believe that the main goal of a public barrister is to convince the defendant to plead nolo contender whether guilty or not. Nolo contender is a compromise between a plea of guilty and a not guilty plea. In most cases, the public barrister represents the interests of the court and the resources of the city, but almost never have any intention of representing the interest of the defendant no matter whether he or she was rightly accused or not. If you watch the postscript for episode 1 of Coptoons, then you know that Pedro Castillo had no intention of representing nor advocating Mr. Sanchez's side of the story. Pedro Castillo's true color was to deter Mr. Sanchez from any further illegal activities. So even before the trial began, Mr. Castillo had already decided that Mr. Sanchez was guilty in the same way that Jordana Moston tried to convince Mr. Sanchez of his alleged guilt. So what is the true objective of a public barrister? If the defendant pleads not guilty, the city will have to pay thousands of dollars for a jury trial. Money is the judge that determines whether the accused is guilty or not. If the defendant is innocent, then Moston will tell the defendant, nolo contender doesn't mean guilty. It only means that you don't want a trial. You'll get a criminal record, but you won't get any prison time at all. But if you plead not guilty, you'll have to wait 30 days in prison for your trial. And you'll lose because I know that you're guilty. So what is the true role of a public defender? Is it to defend, or to deter the defendant from any further illegal activities? In 1998, Pedro Castillo told Mr. Sanchez that the only way to convince judges Nagel and Hillman to allow all the eyewitnesses to testify about what these witnesses saw with their own eyes was to have an expert witness testify in court that Mr. Sanchez had several eyewitnesses hiding in the lobby of the federal building, behind the columns, and across the street. This expert witness was Dr. Deborah Miura. She did not want to hear anything about the eyewitnesses. It was a trap. Mr. Sanchez swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. Dr. Miura wrote a 10-page evaluation about how Mr. Sanchez would rampage throughout the community in a wild, passionate frenzy of death and destruction unless he received the necessary medical attention at Gateways Community Corrections. She said that Mr. Sanchez must remain in Gateways until he becomes aware of the deadly nature of his tragic illness that has totally ravaged his mind. This is the first page of the evaluation written by Dr. Miura. In 2010, Mr. Sanchez called Dr. Miura to ask why she wrote this evaluation. She answered in a panicked voice as follows.
Oh my God! Mr. Sanchez! My God! How did you get this evaluation?
Mr. Sanchez explained that he got it from Pedro Castillo. She then replied in a voice of panic.
Oh my God! My God! Mr. Castillo assured me that the defendants would never see my evaluations. My God! I have written hundreds of these evaluations and nobody has ever read any of my evaluations. My God! You are the first and only defendant to ever read one of my evaluations. My God!
Dr. Miura stated the purpose of her evaluation at the top of the page. She clearly stated that the purpose of the evaluation was to deter Mr. Sanchez from any further criminal activities. After his arrest in 2008, Mr. Sanchez gave this video to his public barrister, Jordana Moston. He explained that the video proves that no patients were filmed. The Bobbies arrested Mr. Sanchez for violating the patient's rights to privacy. But what patients? Look at this video again. Do you see any patients in this video? First, you see the receptionist hiding her face and calling security. Then you see some bloke in a blue shirt. He could be a delivery chap, a janitor, the waterman, a doctor, an off-duty security guard, or maybe just a visitor who came to visit a patient. The patients are prisoners who are never allowed in the lobby. Then you see some cheeky fellow threatening to call the Bobbies. He later claimed to be a barrister named Gardner. If he is a patient, why don't the security chaps just chuck him back into the cookie jar? Then you see a bloke with a security badge. What is a patient doing with a security badge? Then you see a plump lady security guard. Then you see a squad of bobbies. So where are the blasted bloody patients? Jordana Moston viewed this video and said that the video proves that Mr. Sanchez is guilty. That the video proves that Mr. Sanchez violated the patient's rights to privacy. This is when Mr. Sanchez sacked Jordana Moston. So then Moston had a quiet sidebar with the judge, Eric Harmon. Even though Moston was no longer representing Mr. Sanchez, she said that the judge had now appointed her as an advisor to the court. She said that the judge was offering him a deal that was too good to turn down. Moston became like a used car salesman trying to sell an old Edsel previously owned by a little old lady from Pasadena who only drove it on Sundays to go to church. She offered no jail time, no probation, no community service if Mr. Sanchez would just plead nolo contender and agree to never do it again. Mr. Sanchez said, "Tell the judge to take his nolo contender and shove it." So Moston then went back to the sidebar again and came back with a better bargain basement super sale offer. No jail time, no probation, no community service, no plea of nolo contender, all the charges will be dropped with only one condition. That Mr. Sanchez would agree to never do it again. "Hell no," interjected Mr. Sanchez, "I agree to do it again and again until the shrinks agree to never hold innocent people captive as a punishment or as torture to force innocent people to sign a false confession." Mr. Sanchez was then ordered to face the judge and enter a plea. The plea was not guilty. Harmon dropped all the charges and the case was closed. So is this the true objective of a public defender in the States? Is it just a coincidence that both public defenders said that Mr. Sanchez is guilty? Is this the norm when an innocent person is represented by a public defender in the United States? Is this routine? Do these two barristers form a pattern of the US-American judicial system for poor people who don't have enough money for a private barrister? Are these two clowns true showcase examples behind the US-American propaganda of freedom of speech and equal justice under the law? Is the goal of the public defenders to defend, or to deter the public from any further criminal activities?
Yes?
How are you?
Okay.
Okay, so that is the draft. Do you want to read it over, and then we can talk about it?
No, because I have bad eyesight, and
Do you want me to read it to you?
I need to. Okay.
Okay, let me read it to you. So, it says, and I'm happy to show it to the camera.
Yeah.
It says, by hand delivery, Mr. Carl Sanchez. I wrote Kiev, Ukraine, but quite frankly, I can change that.
That's right. No, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's very important, I think.
Then it says, Ray prior representation. And then it says, Dear Mr. Sanchez, I reviewed our office's files relating to our prior representation of you in connection with 2 misdemeanor cases, and have made the following conclusions. You were sentenced to a total term of custody of 90 days at the Metropolitan Detention Center, to be followed by up to 1 year in custody at Gateway's Residential Reentry Center. You did not receive a jury trial in connection with either case. 3, although I didn't write 3. The only witnesses presented at trial in United States v. Carl Sanchez, G537636, G537637, G537638, Stephen J. Hellman, were, number 1, David Griffin of GSA, and number 2, Carl D. Sanchez.
Did you mention that these are hostile witnesses that were used against me?
No, let me keep reading, because I didn't mention that, nor is that something we talked about.
Okay.
And you're probably not considered a hostile witness to yourself. Okay.
No.
So I have attached a copy of the witness and exhibit list from this trial to this letter. Okay? The only witnesses presented at trial in United States v. Carl Sanchez, G420517, G420518, Margaret A. Nagel, were David Griffin, Cheryl Green, and Tom Louie. In connection with this case file, I also reviewed a document entitled The Sanchez Plan for Nonviolent Protest, which clearly refers to you being accompanied by a nonviolent team of witnesses.
Exactly, that's very important.
My review of the file indicates that the only non-GSA witness called in connection with case number, the same case number in front of Judge Nagel, was Tom Louie. I've attached a copy of the witness and exhibit list from this trial to this letter.
Did you write that Tom Louis was not allowed to talk about what he saw with his own eyes at the time of the arrest?
I did not. That's something that we didn't discuss earlier, but if you'd like me to...
Yeah, this is very good for now. I will write you a letter about all the things that I need on the second letter.
Okay.
Okay?
So I'm gonna put this letter
Yeah.
and the attachments.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
that's fine.
Seal it.
That's fine.
I'm gonna seal it in this envelope.
Yeah. Now, how about, you said that Margaret Nagel was a witness in my favor? Did you say that?
No, you
Okay.
said that you only had hostile witnesses at the Hillman trial. And I noted that you were one of your own witnesses.
Yeah.
And that you probably were not hostile to yourself.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, here you go. Although I will agree with you that the GSA person was presumably not on your side.
And Nagel was a judge. You understand that?
Yes.
She was a judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
I refer to them as a Stephen Hillman.
I want to add something else. I want to ask something else to the record. If you feel that it is, there's no proof, that's fine. But I want to add to the record that this woman, Mayora, she was not a favorable witness. She was a hostile witness. Can
you do me a favor?
What?
Once you read through my letter, can you send me a follow-up letter? My address is at the top of the different things you'd like me to address going future?
Of course. But right now, since I'm filming this...
Yeah, I understand. Because the only things I included in this letter, and I know you're filming me, and I understand that that's something you like to do.
I need to do.
You need to do. The reason I put that information in this letter is that's what I understood you wanted me to address.
That's fine.
So,
that's much more than what Pedro Castillo did.
So
much more.
So for future questions, and the reason I ask is because I like to take the time. I mean, hopefully you understand with this letter, I actually did review all your files.
You're simply sincere.
And I like
think
to be thoughtful about it. So
you are.
So if you can send me, you can tell me orally, or if you can send me a letter of the different follow-up things you'd like me to.
I will. I had sent several letters to Pedro Castillo, Dean Gitz, Sean Kennedy, Alicia Blanco Hasselrod, Kelly Steele, these people, and they wouldn't answer me. So what you're doing is much better than what the other people did for 16 years. So what I was saying, I want to add this to the video record. You don't have to write this down because it's just my word. On that evaluation, I think 15-page evaluation, did you read it? Written by Dr. Mayora?
I skimmed it. I've seen it. I know it's in the file.
No.
But I didn't actually. I skimmed it, and I know it exists in the file, but I didn't read it in detail.
Okay. This is what I want to add. I read that many times throughout 16 years, over and over again, and the language used is in perfect English. It is extremely technical and extremely professional, like some words I couldn't even pronounce. Recidivism. The danger Mr. Sanchez is going to do this again. Recidivism. I can't even pronounce it. Okay? Throughout the whole document, there are many words that that normal people wouldn't use. Okay. When I talked to Dr. Mayora over the phone, she didn't talk like that. She talked like this. Who are you, man? You're freaking me out, dude. Man, this is a bummer. How did you know that? And it was written on the evaluation that you wrote. Oh my God, Mr. Sanchez, how did you get the evaluation? From Pedro Castillo. And then she says, he told me the defendant will never ever read this evaluation. I ain't never gonna trust no lawyer no more. How can a person who speaks like a hippie, who doesn't have any basic grammar, write this highly technical word? I think that I've been a teacher in the United States for 20 years, and I know what is plagiarism. I have taught drug addicts. I have taught hoodlums from jail. And when they write this, I know they downloaded it from the internet. And I tell them, what does it mean to foster a belief in Pan-African unity? Foster children, Panama, and I said, you have no idea what you wrote. You got this off the internet. This is plagiarism. This is an F. I would give Dr. Mayora an F in plagiarism. I don't think she wrote this. And then she told me, when I caught her, when I noticed, Dr. Mayora, you don't know what you're talking about. She said, Mr. Sanchez, I'm not a doctor at all. I only said this so I can get hired by the court. And that's the woman who put me in jail for 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days. I want to add that.
If you can do me this favor, if you can write me a follow-up letter once you read through my thing, and whatever specific questions you want me to look through your file to see if I can answer, please do so. Okay,
next question. Why is it that every time I come here, the door is always locked, and I come early because I am punctual, I am considerate. When I make an agreement to be there, I always follow it. I tell the truth. I'm an honest person. I'm so honest that I can't work in the United States, because if I apply for a job as a teacher, I'm going to say I spent 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days in prison for passing out leaflets on a public sidewalk. They won't believe me that I was passing out leaflets. They're only going to believe that I did the 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days. I am so honest that they won't hire me. And why is it such an honest person like me, such a nonviolent like me, has to wait out on the street like a dog?
I think it's that sometimes some of the people in the lobby feel uncomfortable with you videotaping them and having their image taken and displayed on all
social media.
On the social media.
But those two times.
And that's something. That's something that I do want to respect, because people have privacy rights. I'm interacting with you on video because I want to see if we can develop a level of trust. And I want to answer your questions honestly, and I don't have anything to hide. I'm happy to always read through your file, but I think it makes certain people uncomfortable when you're videotaping them in the lobby, and I think that's part of what's going on.
Okay, 2 times I came here. Once with you and once with that guy Hernandez, Richard Hernandez. And in both cases, I was not allowed to come in. I was treated like a dog. And in both of those times, I didn't bring a camera at all. And the reason why I bring a camera to show my viewers how I'm being treated like a dog.
I think I agree. You should be treated with respect.
Yeah, it's like. I was thinking, is it because they think I'm not potty trained? Do they think I have fleas? Is there some sort of separate but equal thing? Like black people had to ask for their lunch in the back of the restaurant and they couldn't come to the front door? Or Frederick Douglass had to stand right by the horses and eat the food they would give him? Even though he was a guest speaker, he had to eat outside with the horses? It feels like the same thing. It feels like they think I have rabies and I'm going to bite somebody. And this is going back to the days of separate but equal. And I think that this is very racist, very unfair. And I'm not saying that to you because you say that you didn't do it, right? They did it. But isn't it true that you're the director here?
No.
You're not the director.
I'm the number 2.
You're number 2. But you do have the power to have them treat me like a human being. I haven't done any crime. You have the power. And why didn't you tell them that he's bringing a camera only because he's the first time I had a camera, and they treated me really good. Okay, they let me come in, and I had a camera. So I didn't bring a camera after that until 2 incidents in which I was treated like a dog with rabies, and that's why I brought the camera.
I need to balance their privacy interests because they're employees, they're not the heads of the office, and I'm happy for you to display. I hope you don't edit this tape. right? Are you going to edit this tape?
No,
I hope you're not going to edit
no,
this
because
conversation
everything you said is very, very important.
Okay.
I might edit something that I said because what I'm saying is not important.
No,
but what you said is very, very important.
What you say is important too.
Okay.
I think, Mr. Sanchez, I think you should be treated with dignity, and I want to keep treating you with dignity. So, if you can please read my letter.
Yeah, I will.
And get me follow-up things you want me to look into.
I will.
I would be happy to do that.
I'll be writing from Kiev, Ukraine. I'm leaving next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand, but let me know and make sure that whatever the address that you need me to write you back is on the information, and I will do so.
I don't want to mispronounce your name. Die Schwab.
It's Chris Dubois.
Dubois. But it's not spelled Die Schwab. Daiwad.
I mean, I have some privacy interests too, so I prefer you don't,
it's just your name
all over the internet. But my name is on the letter.
No,
it's on the letterhead.
No, because as a good person, I don't want to talk about you. I want to talk about the bad person. I'm talking about Pedro Castillo, Judge Nagel, Margaret Nagel, Dr. Mayora.
People to be talking.
Yeah,
it's Dubois, not
I won't make any cartoons. Dubois, like of wood in French or Francais.
Actually, it's deep water in Norwegian, but close.
Du van and then du van.
Are you a
van?
language?
Yes, I've been arrested dozens of times for babbling, rambling incoherently, having racing thought, because I can speak Russian, Danish, Swedish, some Norwegian, German, Spanish, French,
if you can speak,
and German.
If you can speak Norwegian, the first 3 letters are deep, and the next 3 letters are water in Norwegian.
Ja, just det.
But pronounced somewhat differently in Scandinavia, but what can you do? All right?
Yeah. Tyler, med immunen.
Oh, I will be the worst person to try and converse with you in Norwegian.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.